The Radical Rebellion, Black Women Breaking the Conformity Code. I want to begin today by honoring someone whose wisdom and insight have profoundly shaped not just this conversation, but an entire movement of liberation. Lesley Nicole isn't just a researcher or advocate, she's a revolutionary architect of Black women's freedom. Her groundbreaking work on dismantling the invisible walls between Black women has transformed how we understand sisterhood, belonging, and authentic community. Through 20 years of tireless advocacy, research that mainstream academia tried to dismiss, and mentorship that has touched thousands, Lesley Nicole has created sacred spaces where Black women can show up fully as themselves, quirks, contradictions, and all. Her impact doesn't just ripple, it thunders through communities across the country, challenging us to reimagine what true solidarity looks like. Today, I'm privileged to share some of the powerful insights from my recent interview with her. Insights that might just transform how you see yourself and your sisters. We live in a world obsessed with choice, more options, more freedom, more possibilities. It's the cornerstone of modern life, right? The ability to choose your path, define your identity, express yourself however you wish. But here's something deeply counterintuitive, something that might make you uncomfortable. For many Black women and girls, exercising that choice, especially when it means stepping outside expected norms within our own communities, can feel not liberating, but profoundly isolating. Think about it. The Black girl who loves indie rock instead of R&B, the one who'd rather read science fiction than go shopping, the woman who questions traditions others hold dear, the professional who speaks differently in boardrooms than at family gatherings and gets side eyes from both. What happens to her? Too often, she finds herself in a painful limbo, caught between authentic self expression and the comfort of belonging, between being fully seen and being fully accepted, between her truth and her tribe. This tension isn't just personal, it's political, it's historical, it's generational. And according to my conversation with Lesley Nicole, it's something we urgently need to address if we want to truly liberate ourselves. Because here's the radical idea at the heart of today's talk: embracing our differences as Black women isn't just about individual freedom, it's actually one of the most powerful forms of community care we can practice. It's revolutionary. It's resistance. It's rebellion. Let me say that again because it's that important. When we make space for each other's uniqueness, when we celebrate rather than police the boundaries of Blackness, we aren't weakening our bonds. We're revolutionizing them. This isn't just a nice sentiment, it's a necessary evolution. For generations, Black women have been the backbone of our communities. We've organized, nurtured, protected, and preserved. We've been the steady hands guiding families through storms of systemic racism, economic hardship, and social upheaval. That solidarity has been our superpower, but sometimes it's come at a cost. In my interview with Lesley Nicole, she shared something that stopped me in my tracks. The very unity that has protected us can sometimes constrict us if we're not careful. When we make belonging conditional on conformity, we're actually replicating the same oppressive structures we're trying to dismantle. Let that sink in. When we reject each other for being too much or not enough of anything, too loud, too quiet, too academic, too street, too white, too Black, too queer, too traditional, we're doing the oppressor's work for them. Let's look at history to understand this better. In 1974, a group of Black feminists in Boston formed the Combahee River Collective. These women found themselves alienated from both mainstream white feminism and male dominated Black liberation movements. They weren't fully welcome in either space because they refused to fragment their identities. Barbara Smith, one of the founders, described walking into rooms where she was expected to be either Black or a woman or a lesbian, never all three at once. The collective faced what they called interlocking oppressions from society at large, but also within movements that should have been their home. Their response wasn't to conform, it wasn't to choose, it was to create something entirely new. They developed the concept of simultaneity, the revolutionary idea that race, class, gender, and sexuality all shape lived experience at once. They created a space where every part of their identity could be honored equally. This wasn't just academic theory, it was survival, it was community building, it was love. Their work laid the groundwork for what we now call intersectionality, empowering countless others to see their full selves reflected in activism. Their motto remains influential today among organizations seeking authentic inclusion, not just token representation, but real belonging. But this struggle isn't new. It stretches back even further. In 1851, Sojourner Truth delivered her famous Ain't I a Woman speech at the Women's Rights Convention in Akron, Ohio. Standing tall as the only Black woman in a room full of white feminists, she confronted racism within early feminist circles while also challenging stereotypes about both race and gender. Truth used her platform to highlight the vast differences between elite white women's experiences versus working class women, especially those who were enslaved. She demanded recognition for all forms of womanhood. What's remarkable is that Truth had already overcome enslavement when she emerged as an activist. Her journey was marked by resilience against exclusion on many fronts, yet she still showed up, still spoke truth to power, still insisted on being seen in her fullness. Her words continue inspiring movements focused on intersectionality today, a reminder not only that every voice matters, but that embracing difference strengthens collective power. These historical examples show us something crucial. The struggle for Black women to be seen as individuals while maintaining community bonds isn't new. It's woven into our history, it's part of our legacy. But what about today? How does this tension play out in our contemporary lives? Consider Zakiya Dalila Harris' best selling novel, The Other Black Girl. It follows Nella Rogers, the only Black woman working at a publishing house, as she navigates microaggressions from colleagues after another young Black woman joins her team. What makes this story so compelling isn't just the external racism Nella faces, it's the complex relationship that develops between the two Black women. Nella experiences skepticism and distance from someone who shares her background, but not necessarily her worldview or approach. Through complex character development, the book explores how solidarity isn't automatic, based solely on shared identity. Trust must be built intentionally through empathy rather than assumption. Harris drew inspiration partly from real life publishing industry dynamics, where diversity doesn't always guarantee inclusion or safety for those seen as different, even within minority groups. The book sparked national conversations about workplace culture for marginalized professionals while highlighting nuances often overlooked in diversity initiatives. It encourages organizations everywhere to look beyond numbers toward actual belonging practices so no one feels like the other. These three examples, the Combahee River Collective, Sojourner Truth, and the Other Black Girl illustrates something Lesley Nicole emphasized in our interview. The liberation of Black women depends not just on fighting external oppression, but on how we treat each other, on whether we make room for each other's full humanity. This brings me to the second key insight from our conversation. Many of us have been conditioned to greet difference with suspicion instead of curiosity or warmth. The skepticism or coldness some Black women experience from each other often comes from generations of socialization around scarcity, scarcity of opportunity, acceptance, even love. We've been taught there's only so much room at the table, only so many ways to be acceptable, only so many paths to safety. When resources feel limited, policing boundaries becomes a survival strategy. We develop unspoken rules about who belongs and who doesn't, about what constitutes authentic Blackness. But here's the uncomfortable truth: these boundaries were never created for our benefit, they were imposed by systems of oppression that benefit from our division. Recognizing this pattern gives us power. We can choose to disrupt it by being intentional about how we show up for one another. As Lesley Nicole told me, when I catch myself judging another sister for being too much or not enough of anything, I ask myself, who taught me this standard? Who benefits from me enforcing it? And what might be possible if I chose curiosity instead? This brings me to the third crucial insight. Our daughters deserve more, and we set the example. The way we treat each other as adults shapes what young Black girls believe is possible in their own relationships. By modeling open dialogue, healthy boundaries, and genuine celebration of difference, not just tolerance, we lay a foundation where our daughters can thrive without fear of being ostracized for standing out. Think about the messages we send when we whisper about the girl with different interests, or when we question someone's Blackness because of how they speak, what they enjoy, or whom they love. Now imagine a different reality, one where young Black girls grow up seeing women who look like them, embracing each other across differences, supporting each other's unique journeys, celebrating rather than policing each other's choices. That's not just a nice vision, it's a revolutionary act of community care. Because here's the truth: we need each other, not despite our differences, but because of them. Our diversity of thought, experience, and expression is our greatest strength if we're brave enough to embrace it. So I challenge you today, not as a nice suggestion, but as an urgent imperative. Examine the ways you might be policing the boundaries of Blackness in your own communities. Question where those standards came from. Ask yourself who benefits from your enforcement of them, and then do something radical. The next time you encounter a Black woman or a girl who doesn't fit your expectations, who loves heavy metal instead of hip hop, who speaks differently than you expected, who challenges traditions you hold dear, choose curiosity over judgment, choose connection over correction. Choose to see her, truly see her in all her complexity. This isn't just about being nice. This is about dismantling the invisible walls between us that were never built for our protection, but for our containment. When we embrace each other across our differences, we aren't weakening our community, we're strengthening it. We're making it more resilient, more innovative, more capable of surviving whatever comes our way. As Lesley Nicole said at the end of our interview, the revolution we need won't come from everyone thinking alike. It'll come from creating communities where everyone can think, feel, and be differently and still know they belong. That's not just a beautiful vision, It's our most powerful path forward. It's our liberation. It's our future. And it begins with you today. Now, will you join the radical rebellion of Black women breaking the conformity code? Will you be brave enough to see your sisters in their fullness? Will you create spaces where difference isn't just tolerated, but celebrated? The revolution is waiting. And it looks like us in all our beautiful, complicated, contradictory glory.